Mariann, we're welcome to the show. Excited to have you here. You're coming from bright San Diego, is that right?
Sunny San Diego. Yeah, nice and chilly this morning. So sunny but chilly.
Chilly. I don't know if I've heard chilly in San Diego in the same
I
sentence,
know, right?
but
The weather's been crazy, but yes.
I'm a little jealous because in Utah it's nice and cold and it
And
snows upon us. So
I
I'm
love it.
jealous. Well, hey, you are currently at Abnormal today. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about Abnormal and your role?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I'm at Abnormal. I've been here for, I want to say, shy of 7 months since March. And we specialize in cloud email security. But I think we really definitely do things differently here, and a huge, Abnormal, it goes with our product. We just to dive in a little deeper for anyone watching, it's we look at the abnormalities that happen within email communications, and those patterns via email to determine what is or could be a compromised account before scammers get access to their information or financially harming businesses. So our goal is to put a stop to that, and so we've built a really unique solution to do that. And so I have been here, like I said, for about 6-7 months, and I specialize in go-to-market hiring. So I partner with the sales leader specifically for enterprise as of recently, and then also sales enablement and operations.
That's super cool. I think the industry that you're in is really exciting. It's like on the cutting edge of everything right now. Everything is about cybersecurity and protection, and I can only imagine like the interesting things that you and the team do on a regular basis. Probably a really fun place to work.
Yeah, 100%. It's cybersecurity, like you said, is so hot right now for a market, and so it's a really good opportunity, especially for a startup, to really come in, have something different, right, and unique as far as a product to provide for the clients out there, and really raise the bar high for what email security should be. So yes, it's a really cool product, cool company.
I like that. Now, well, what's interesting about you and your background, you worked for a lot of different companies and have had a lot of different experience in the recruiting space. But it seems like where your niche is, or where you like to spend time, is in that go-to-market space, in the sales space, customer success type space. Yeah. What is it about that space that like gets you really excited and like to work with all those different groups?
Yeah, I love that question. And I think there's two components to that. I think the main reason, I've been hiring sales folks for my entire career, close to 6 years now. So yes, it's what I'm passionate about. And I think a big focus is the business side that really excites me. Hiring the individuals that quite literally drive the success of the business is very, very exciting for me to have that sort of impact, right? At the end of the day, the sales org is who pays for all of our paychecks, right? So being able to really find those key players in the market, right, to come and help the business grow and scale is one of the big components. And the other one is really, I think, the interactions that I get from speaking to these successful, driven individuals, and those conversations. I've never aggressively hired for tech, so I can't really compare what it is speaking to, individuals on that side, but just the excitement, the passion of the conversations that I have with these individuals is really just so exciting to me. And I think why I've definitely steer path to go to market hiring.
It probably matches your personality type, because that's who you are, right? You're
100%.
super passionate, you're after it, you're competitive.
Yeah.
College athlete, right? Tennis.
Mm-hmm. Tennis, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. That's pretty cool. Opportunity to play tennis in college.
Yeah, amazing. I think if I ever had kids, I would definitely try to push them to have that experience, just because it goes far beyond just, playing a sport, being and having those key relationships with, the coaching staff, your teammates. These are relationships that really do last a lifetime, right? And they really help you steer the right direction, I think, through college, which are very challenging and difficult times for everyone, right? So I think having the consistency of waking up early, going to practice, having to have your grades up, right, in order to continue to play for the team. So there's a lot of components that I think build qualities for individuals for then, transitioning to the, to corporate world.
I love that. So my next question for you then, is a little personal. It's who is your favorite band or artist or musician?
When I was prepping for this, I was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't ask, because my fiance finds it shocking that I am not an avid music listener. Like, I can just play something, I can listen to the radio, whatever's on, I enjoy it really. But if I were to call out one band or at least genre, I mean, with my Hispanic roots, it would really have to be reggaeton. I mean, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, this is music that I like to hear when I'm working out or driving. So I would say that, but it's not like I sit here being like, oh, I need to get the tickets for Bad Bunny is, but I enjoy it.
So you like music, but it's not like hardcore, I've got to be to every concert kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
See, I'd picture you just rocking out all the time. So.
I know, it's not funny, but no, it comes in waves, I think. Music for me, for sure.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's jump into our three main questions. As you know, the first question is about candidates. And what secrets would you want candidates to know about the hiring process?
Yeah. While looking at some of the interviews that you've already had, the consensus is very similar to what I would share initially, right? So with the hopes of sharing something different, I think more unique to what I've experienced in my career, the one secret that I would say I have for candidates is preparation. And I think preparation can mean something different to you than it means to me, but at least in my experience, there's kind of three main pillars onto what preparation looks like for when you are preparing to interview or meet with companies, right? And I think the main one is, and it goes unnoticed all the time, and you'd be surprised how often this happens, but understanding the company and who you're talking to, right? Yeah. Really doing your research and preparing in that way to be equipped with the tools to answer some questions that they might have for you, but having that knowledge already ingrained into your head prior to you joining these conversations, I think is commonly not done as often, right? They expect the recruiter to tell you all about the business, and 100% that's what we're here for, but also kind of coming from your perspective and what you're understanding from going to our website, reading Gartner peer insight reviews, and all this other knowledge that you can get on your own is going to be very beneficial for you as a candidate. I think the second component of this is understanding really the value that you're going to be bringing to the company, right? And being able to verbalize that prior to maybe even the recruiters asking is a huge win, I think, when I'm speaking to candidates, right? So there's obviously a job, there's obviously a description, there's obviously a need for the business to hire these roles. So what can you depict from that as the individual that you are, and what value are you going to bring to help solve that problem that the business is having, and why they're hiring these openings, right? And the third one, and I think it's more commonly shared with the recruiting and hiring manager and talent acquisition world, is the why, right? And I want to tie the why directly to questions, right? And really the why, as in the sense that, like, yes, you'll hear this, you're interviewing as much as they're interviewing you, but why do you want to work there? Ask the questions that are really going to help you really understand, is this going to be a company that values me, that is going to propel me forward in my career, that is going to challenge me, and all these things that you should be looking for. Coming prepared with questions to try to understand that better will really help you come and encompass what I think is a proper preparation for an interview.
Makes sense. So basically, it's not like wake up in the morning and just go and expect magic to happen. Like there's true preparation involved, and you have to think through it, and there's work involved. Like the harder that you work at it in preparing, the more likely you are to get the job. But we see it day in and day out with a lot of candidates and job seekers that don't put much effort into it and don't do the preparation that's needed. And those are
Yeah.
the ones that don't see the success that they want to see.
It shows, I mean, at the end of the day, what that shows, I think, is commitment, right? Commitment to the business that you're trying to work for. And recruiters, we see that when we're speaking to someone that is eager, passionate, understands what we do, our mission, and what we're trying to achieve here. You know that. I mean, we speak to hundreds of individuals, a week. So we know when someone it has that excitement and preparation for the call that you're going to be doing with them.
Yeah, it's amazing that the edge that they have if they
Yeah.
do that. Like
Yeah.
you can see it, it's tangible. So
Yeah.
no, I appreciate that. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
What about for hiring managers? You work with tons of hiring managers all the time, and they're a big part of this process. But what secrets or what advice or tips do you have for hiring managers as they're going in through the hiring process to help them be successful?
I've noticed this common pattern, I think, through the different industries that I've worked for and the different companies. And it's truly, well, first thing, in order to be able to have even a relationship is peeling down the onion layers with the hiring managers.
Yeah.
I think a huge piece is being vulnerable and being open to the support that you're getting from this individual, right? At the end of the day, we're here to support you fill your roles that the business needs you to fill, right?
Right.
So, and this kind of bleeds into other things that we would probably be discussing here shortly as well. But the power of that relationship, of that effective kickoff conversation, really defines the success of finding the right person in a timely manner. And I think it all points directly to building the relationships, asking the right questions, getting to know the person, the individual that you're speaking to. One thing is for you or my hiring to tell me, I want A, B, or C. And I'm like, okay, well, great. But what about A is it that you need, right? What kind of leadership abilities are you looking for in this individual? And really, again, peeling back the onion, the layers of the onion to define what that perfect individual looks like outside of just paper, right?
Yeah.
Having them understand that you're here to support them, right? And how that's done is by building a relationship and being open and vulnerable with your recruiters.
Yeah. Do you tend to send stuff to hiring managers in advance of the kickoff call to help them think through, like, hey, what should I be prepared for? What should I be thinking about? What should I, how should I get my mind in the right state of mind to sit down with my recruiter? Do you typically do that? What does that look like?
Yeah. So funny you mentioned that. I think personally, I've seen prior to kickoffs, I try to do a quick sync with my hiring managers to even set expectations for what we should be expecting from that kickoff, right? To make it even more effective. And, at the end of the day, I tell my hiring managers, an hour with me right now, and I know you're busy, but an hour with me right now will save you, hundreds of hours later,
Yeah.
So again, having those initial quick syncs with prior to those kickoffs really just kind of sets the tone as far as, hey, I'm here for you. We're in this together. This is what to expect. And this is, what you need, hopefully, to come prepared effectively for that conversation as well, versus just showing up. Right.
That's interesting. So kind of a similar thing from what you shared about candidates with hiring managers around being prepared. Like you can go into a meeting being very prepared and ready to go and know the things that you're going to cover and walk through. But then you and I have both been in those situations with hiring managers that come in cold and they're not even quite sure what they're looking for or what they need. Like it really does require a hiring manager to prepare in advance and to really be thinking about, what are the top 3 to 5 things that I really need in this role? How would I prioritize those things? Which are most important? Which ones would I be okay to let go of? Because we're not going to find this purple squirrel that, we think is out there and have everything that we wish, because that just isn't reality a lot of times.
Yeah.
But I like how you, you underpin everything with creating that relationship with the hiring manager so that they they trust you, you're communicating with them regularly, they know where they stand. Like that's a really important attribute that I've seen you do in action a lot. So I like that. Thanks.
And I would also like to add that one thing that has really helped me lead those effective kickoff conversations, and it maybe doesn't have to be a quick sync either. I mean, we're not going to book meetings for the purpose of booking meetings, right? But asking for the hiring manager to provide you with, let's say, 5 profiles that they think are outrageous. We need this person right now.
Yeah.
Prior to kickoff. And then a lot of the time spent in that kickoff can be really depicting what about these profiles is what he thought are great, right? And so there's a funny component here, because at the end of the day, I personally think it's more about the person than what's on the paper, right? You might not be able to clearly depict everything about you and who you are and what you've done in a piece of paper.
Sure.
And so really understanding how they see things and how you also have to pitch that to them later on, right? From a profile standpoint, candidate standpoint, really helps drive that effectiveness.
Cool. So I think that's pro tip number 1 for hiring managers. Then, like, hiring managers, go out, get 5 profiles of who you think is phenomenal, send them to your recruiter in advance.
Yep.
So they can start thinking about, oh, okay, I know other people that have similar profiles like this in the market. I love that. It's a great pro tip.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Second to last question. This question is for the recruiting team. So, your peers that you work with, so whether that's a coordinator, a sourcer, recruiters, talent acquisition leaders, what secrets do you have for them in helping through the hiring process?
I mean, I want to point out the obvious here, and I think recruiting and let's stick with recruiting right now. I think it can become a very monotonous role. You are looking for a candidate, you're filling the position, and you're going to do that all over again, right? And so I think the way to break that cycle is really taking ownership of your role, right? Essentially owning and leading your role as if you were the leader of the entire business, right? Because that will give you a different approach as far as the conversations that you're having with each of these, either the recruiting coordinators or the hiring managers or even your teammates, is really taking ownership of who you are. And I think that comes from within more so than just, I'm going to own my role, but really owning who you are and having that reflect on your day-to-day will really make you more efficient at the end of the day, and being able to do that, own your role, but also make sure that you're coming off in a way that everyone understands that, hey, you're the master, you're the jack of all trades for recruiting. Like, I'm going to respect you for that. And so in return, you need to be able to provide data analysis, understanding all this knowledge that as experts in recruiting we have.
Yeah.
To create that not only respect, but validation that, you are who you say you are, right? And you're not just putting something out there without the facts or the data or the components to back the statement up. So I think being a leader means all these other things, but coming again prepared to be that leader, prepared with the information to the greater team, is only going to help you lead effectively what you're trying to do.
Cool. So this question is more personal for you. It's more around like the superpower that has got you to where you're at in your career today. What do you think has really fueled your success through any attributes you feel like you've gained across your career?
Yeah, I mean, it might sound repetitive, and I might have already thrown this out there, but for me, I think it's the ability to put the resume behind and focus on the person. And I am truly able to build some amazing relationships with candidates because of that.
Yeah.
I think it's easier at least to figure out if the person is fit for the role from a technical, like you have the skill set ability. But what goes beyond that, and I think what all companies should really focus on, is in the individual, right? Are they going to be an add to you and your company? Are they culturally, from a revenue standpoint, given I focus on sales and all these other attributes outside of just, filling the position, are they going to bring in the most money, right? So being able to invest back into our employees so that they stay with us and they continue to grow with us is a huge component. So I think my superpower is really being able to understand their why and get vulnerable with my candidates and really help them find what I think is the next best career step for them. But I won't know what that is until I speak to them, right? So being able to build that relationship, I think, is my superpower.
That's cool. I definitely agree with that. And you have a really great way of connecting with people and seeing beyond the resume. There's a few other things that I think that I see in you on a regular basis that makes a really successful recruiter or talent partner. One of the things that I think you do really, really well is branding. Like, you do a really great job of talent branding, and you're always out on LinkedIn, and you're always building motion graphics to help people see, catch people's attention and help them see, oh, we've got some cool opportunities over here. You should come check them out.
Yeah.
And you're always proactive about that. Not a lot of recruiters will do that, but branding is a really important part of the recruiting process.
Yeah.
You do that extremely well. The other thing that is really cool about you, and we talked about it earlier, is just this competitive edge that you have. Like, you aren't going to be satisfied until, you do your very best and beyond that. Like, blood, sweat, and tears, you're going to make it happen no matter what. Like, you just have this awesome, ferocious, aptitude to go after it and do hard things, do challenging things. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. They're like, I don't know that I dare to do that. I don't know if I feel comfortable having that conversation. I don't know if I feel whatever, but that doesn't phase you. Like, that's just par for the course. Like, what are you talking about? This is easy. So you have a lot of really great innate attributes that have really helped you be successful. So really proud of all you've accomplished and excited to see what you'll continue to accomplish across your career. So for Mariann, for anybody that is looking for roles at Abnormal right now, where should we point them to look?
We should definitely point them to either our job section on LinkedIn or reach out to me directly. As Jeremy mentioned, I love connecting with individuals and connecting you to the right person. And then also our career website. And I believe that would just be abnormal.com/careers.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Mariann, thanks so much for being on the show. You're awesome as usual. I hope to have you back again soon to go deeper on other topics. You've got like this wealth of knowledge, so I'm hoping to tap into that in the future, but wish you all the best.
You too, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
There you have it, folks. Mariann Bukich, lots of great tips and tricks to help you be successful, whether you're a candidate, hiring manager, or you're part of the recruiting team. We'll see you on the next podcast.